What if you could be a superhero? Dave here from DC On Screen. If you love this show and you want to see it continue and thrive, please be sure to visit iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star written review. The process is faster than a speeding bullet. You don't even have to wear tights or a cape. I mean, you can, if you're into that kind of thing. No judgment. What's important is that you tell the world what you like about the show and why you think they should be listening too. It really does go a long way in helping our show grow and expand, pushing us into more people's eye and ear holes. That was a weird way to put that. By the way, leaving a 5-star written review gets you entered into a drawing to win a free DC trade paperback, DVD, or Blu-ray valued at $15 or less. 1 in 10 will win and will be chosen through a true number generator on random.org. Think of it as our version of that antiquated sexist moment where the superhero saves the girl and she gives him a little jaw sugar. Alright, begging is over. Time for a brand new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome into DC On Screen, episode 294. This is our recap and review of Gotham 3x12 Ghosts. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This, my co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
To recap, we return to Mario Falcone's funeral and the aftermath. Lee is deeply mad at Jim, so she agrees to comply with the hit Falcone wants to put out on Jim. Even though Zsasz has a fondness for Jim, he merrily sets out about the task of killing him, which annoys Bullock, because, well, Bullock's always around Jim. Leslie visits Barnes in jail and realizes he's completely changed and that Mario was probably crazed when Jim put him down. This gives her second thoughts about the assassination and she begs Falcone to call it off. He regretfully complies and tells Zsasz to back down. The Barbara Penguin Coalition to destroy Penguin uses an elaborate plan to make Penguin think his father is a ghost. I guess I should say Edward Barbara. But is also a desecrated corpse. He freaks out so wonderfully that he kills the man who once held Edward's job and completely takes a live, nationally televised interview. Bruce manages to talk Selena into giving her estranged mother a second chance. The gang has a lovely dinner and bonds nicely, but the next morning, Maria is cornered in her apartment by a thug looking to get back his money, and Selena has to name-drop Bruce to get rid of him. At the morgue, Dwight the coroner has been reviving dead bodies and holding Jerome-was-awesome rallies. After Jim and Bullock bust up a meeting, and knowing for certain, now that his tech works, Dwight decides it's time to undead Jerome himself.
Well, you know, the major disappointment was I heard Jerome was coming back, and I just got to see like a little, Facebook live video of him, basically.
Mm-hmm. My disappointment was not that Jerome didn't truly come back. It was that the show, this episode, well, I had a few disappointments. One, Lee is so angry she's a cartoon.
Yeah, it didn't fit her very well.
Yeah, she in the first half of the episode, she's basically just like a rabid nighttime soap character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, we will have to kill him, and he, I want him dead.
Oh yeah,
and then she just flip flops pretty quickly back to the Lee that we know, but
she gets there, and it's a neat moment with Falcone where he calls her out on, she still loves Jim and all that stuff. And frankly, I can't really understand why he actually calls the hit off. I mean, not really. In honor of his new family, I guess, or
I think he likes Lee
just as a human?
And also, as a human, and I think also, he does. He says you still love James Gordon. All right, well, that's his excuse because he doesn't want, he respects that. I think he might respect that she was willing to go through with the wedding, even though she secretly still loves Jim.
Maybe it's that.
I think, he tells
liked
Lee
Jim before.
Absolutely, he tells Lee that he doesn't actually. He wants to kill him because of him actually. It's blood for blood. Mm-hmm. But, he has an issue killing Jim anyway because, in many ways Jim is like the son that Mario never was.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe it's just like he's got enough excuses to not have to pull that trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Though, and that was just something I was kind of pondering. It's not really a problem for me, to be honest. I can be like, oh, it's a mob thing. I don't really understand it. And there's probably something about respect involved that I just don't get. The whole thing, though, was worth it, though, even if it was bad, because Zsasz is just entertaining as hell this episode. He was fantastic. Like he comes as a messenger at first, and then he has some little speech about like Jim says, you can try, and he gets real serious. Like, I don't try, I don't stop. That was actually intimidating for a second. It's like every now and then I look at him, I'm like, God, the guy from the Smashing Pumpkins looks real scary.
Yeah. I love what he told Jim. You're a good egg.
You're a good egg was fantastic. Like he likes Jim. He likes that he's a good person. He's just got a job to do, and that's really all there is to it.
If it's any consolation, you had a good run. You lasted longer than most.
It was good.
And then when he tells him it's off, and he just looks at Jim and goes, "Okay, boss."
Like, it was enough that a minute later when Bullock takes that shot, I don't even think he was worried about the bullets. I think he just like took a shot because he knows there's people like Zsasz in the world that will just happily go about their day of, well, people need killing.
Yeah. About the point though that Lee is saying, you're the real virus, Jim, blah blah blah. I was thinking, why couldn't Jim have just crippled him? He like shot him like 4 times in the chest.
Yeah. I mean, he could have kneecapped him. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I thought they had a decent point there, probably. And Jim's a good shot too. He could probably get a knee if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, can I go ahead and skip straight to my favorite Bullock moments?
If you like.
It's just my favorite part of watching Gotham now almost is Bullock and Alfred moments. But and Alfred had a great moment getting pickpocketed. That was a lot of fun. But Bullock early on doesn't anyone ever die in Gotham anymore? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Harvey.
I have that one written down. Yeah.
And Bullock and Jim talking later while they're getting shot at. Would have been nice if you had told me that earlier, talking about his the hit. And Jim tells him, Zsasz is only after me. He's very professional that way.
That was good.
Like, he really would. He would, in an alley, he would walk up to the two of them, shoot Jim in the head, turn to Bullock and go, "Hey, bud," and walk out. Might see you later. We'll see.
Yep. I'm digging Zsasz. I knew we were going to be in for a good Zsasz.
Yeah, after that first speech, I knew whoever was writing this episode had a good idea about how to use him.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend called me and was like, "Have you watched Gotham yet?" And I was like, "No." She went, "I love Zsasz." He's a heck of a lot of fun. So, a couple of bits didn't work for me. Selena hasn't seen her mom in 11 years, but she knows what she looks like and recognizes her.
Yeah, it was weird.
Selena's a little kid, remember?
She was 5 when she left. I know that because there was actually a pretty funny line in there. It wasn't supposed to be funny, but there's you can't run fast with a 5-year-old, which was a weird line for me because logically it makes so much damn sense, and it almost made me laugh because it made so much sense, but it's supposed to be in the middle of the sad scene. Mm-hmm. It was a weird moment for me watching.
Yep. I know that they're coming back from, a winter break. They're going to have another one, but
yeah.
They crammed so many things in this episode. It was just too much.
Yeah.
You can remind me next week that Bruce has the owl. I don't need to know that right now. I don't need to remember that. You didn't do anything with it except you showed me a map that the sunlight makes.
Oh, I had turned away. I didn't even see that.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even catch that part.
He puts it on a very particular pedestal, and he's like, "There's got to be something about this, Alfred." And he walks away, and like you see this, it like pans over. You see the sunlight hitting it from a certain different angle, and when it comes through the prism of the owl, it makes a map on the wall. Well,
that's why I'm glad we talk about these things, because sometimes you look down to write a note, you miss a shot.
Yeah. Something
they included though that didn't take much time, and it was a thank God. That was actually probably what I was writing down was like, perhaps hide it in the cave. Thank you for mentioning the damn cave. I thought they were going to like retcon that thing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, the cut to Bruce and Al is pretty jarring. I just feel like they're trying to cram too much in.
I wasn't so worried about that. I was and a lot of this episode was actually pretty impressive. The scheme, Riddler's scheme to destroy Penguin is pretty good. I mean, it seemed very Riddler-y, like way too many parts, and could have been done probably more simply. But he's got a little bit of flair in how he plans, and I like that part. Just didn't. I didn't know Clayface was still around. By the way, I thought he was in jail or something.
Yeah, I didn't know where Basil was. He was.
I thought he had been tucked away, but I guess he's out out in play. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, whatever. I guess. I don't know, Ed and Barbara and Tabitha, they're just all ridiculous. They're like cartoons.
They are, but this show's very much a cartoon, and like,
yeah,
and it's got like a Schumacher-y background to it. It's kind of weird. Half the time it's really fantastic. Half the time it's just a little too much. I never know what I'm dealing with.
I feel like Gotham may be the closest we'll ever see to what Schumacher would do if he actually had gotten to do exactly what he wanted to do.
That's what I think's accurate about it. Is I should feel bad about that. Schumacher didn't really want to make a cartoon. That infamous quote of "We're making a cartoon" it was apparently sarcastic on his part.
Sure, but at the same time, this is the same guy that went like, well, why can't they have nipples on their costumes?
He's freely admitted that he'll probably never be forgiven for that, and he shouldn't be.
Right. But if you look at like number 23 with Jim Carrey, that was one of his, and it was pretty like in segments. It was pretty weird and over the top.
I remember
it may have been great.
I remember liking that movie and then thinking that I probably shouldn't have liked it, but I kind of enjoyed it.
I remember liking it. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah. Oh, did you notice?
So,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, sorry, a baby booty and a picture aren't enough for Selena to forgive her mother for 11 years of being absent.
I know. I was really proud of this though. Like Bruce goes in there, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed with his speech, and I'm actually impressed the writers didn't use this because it would have been way too on the nose to use the "you have a chance, I'll never have" card. Mm-hmm. But they made a pretty convincing speech for Bruce without actually having to use that extremely obvious line. I was a little impressed with that.
Right. The writers of Gotham were just like, stay away from Martha. Stay away from Martha.
I mean, you could almost feel like the line would be pretty much, I'll never get the chance that you have right now. Something like that. You could pretty much just feel it coming the entire time, and they didn't have to use it. I was impressed.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Alfred's new crush, though?
Not a big fan, but I mean, whatever. I mean,
I'm sure Alfred will make it fun.
If that's the way the show wants to play it, where Alfred just likes every middle-aged lady
that comes across his path.
Right. Whatever, man. I guess. I mean,
and so far the dynamic seems to be he's crushing on her way more obviously than he thinks. She seems to be perfectly aware of his I don't know, his little looks, and thinks they're kind of cute, but like in an almost condescending way. Selena seems to be aware and deeply annoyed, and then Bruce doesn't seem to be aware that anything's happening at all.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the dynamic we're going to be playing for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. Maria seems to me like, she's like, he has these little crushy looks.
He had the puppy eyes a couple times.
He's cute, and this could be a meal ticket.
A little bit, yeah. A little bit. Speaking of meal ticket, though, like Selena late in the episode when we discover that this Cole guy has problems. Anyway, when he's out for money and has the gun out and everything, Selena just like drops the Bruce name real quick. Mm-hmm. Like no, I know Bruce Wayne. He'll pay whatever it is. I thought that a bit presumptuous.
Yeah, well, that's Selena for you.
Yeah.
All right, so. What did you think of Penguin's storyline, though? Not just Ed's part in it, but Penguin's storyline, like how he's handling all of this.
Kind of in a way, it feels right. He would do okay with the city for like a minute before completely fucking it up and like killing a guy in his office. That part feels right. The part that I couldn't forgive the show for this week was there's no reason Penguin takes this interview. I'm sorry. There's no way. There's no fucking way he takes this interview.
Right.
I mean. That was the least.
That's what I was thinking.
Absolutely, the least believable thing that happened this week was I would tell that woman, "Thank you for the offer. I wish you the best. Get out of my office, please." Mm-hmm. There is no way I'm going to sit down on live television and be interviewed by someone who's openly hostile to me. Especially if you're the mayor and you have numbers that can back up. Like you make the story about your numbers. You don't go out and no, just no way.
Especially with a past in Arkham Asylum.
Right. What was he expected to do? Like bring his little certificate of sanity with him and be like, and pull out the sheet of paper. I'm good now.
Yeah.
That guy who can't be found before the whole building blew up gave me a sheet of paper that said I'm fine.
Mm-hmm. Fun times.
Mm-hmm.
I was somewhat annoyed because, like we've talked about, there's no telling what Gotham's going to do. I thought for just a moment, this actually might be his dead father coming back.
Yeah.
Find me, my son. I can never rest until I lay underground once more.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem with the show right now. It's like Bullock said. You really, when someone dies, you just kind of think,
Right.
Never.
All right.
That little trend has never been done better than the Robot Chicken DC bit where they're at Green Arrow's funeral and they're like, he'll show up soon. And Green Arrow shows up at his own funeral and be like, who's that?
Yeah. Well, Batman's up on stage giving the eulogy. He's like, who are we kidding? How many of you have been dead? We know he's coming back. Raise your hand if you've died in the last 6 months. And then it just cuts to Green Arrow raising his hand.
Oh, that's how it is.
In the back of the church. Yeah.
That's good. I remember the punchline on it, but the details were long forgotten.
Yeah. So, Jerome Cult. I like their little logo.
Yeah, logo's cool. Also, you realize that's the same guy who followed the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Nope.
Remember the insane guy? I think the phrase was like the perfect. I don't know. Batman says something about he's the perfect guy to recruit for the Joker. It's he actually has like it's a small role where he's one of the guys that like follows the Joker and works for him in The Dark Knight.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I did not remember that at all. Can't
remember his name at all. Should have looked that up.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll do that next time.
He'll apparently be around for a minute, so I'll have time to rectify that next week. I'm guessing, by the way, that like they did a 3-story arc with Jerome last year. I think that was like, and we've only got 3 episodes before we get this like break part 2 that's going to happen. Which, incidentally, to give anyone some details, you've got 2 more weeks of Gotham, and then you're not going to see it again until April 24th.
Mm-hmm.
Which is odd. Like there are articles online right now about how odd that is, and I completely agree. I don't know what's going on with that. Like maybe there's some new dynamic in airing television shows that we're not aware of. But anyway, my guess is we've got 3 weeks of a Jerome story, and then we're probably not going to see him again. Post the break.
Right. Well, I mean, months and months ago we talked about how they were going to do 11 episodes and then a 3-episode arc, and then finish out the season.
Yeah, it's just such a strange way to air television shows, I think. But
they're still feeling it out. Like every year has been like they've apparently had trouble breaking up their episodes every year.
Yeah, and they've
keeping momentum.
That's why it's so weird to me is they've changed it a little bit. It's just getting strange now.
Mm-hmm. But the Jerome family, or whatever you want to call it, the Jerome followers cult,
maniacs, I guess.
I didn't see they weren't really doing anything wrong. Not lawfully.
No, I mean that was a perfectly legal, if not extremely creepy meeting.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand why why Harvey and Jim started firing guns and screaming GCPD and whatnot.
Oh no, that wasn't even the weird. Like it's weird to approach a group of absolute crazies, even if you are the only 2 people there that are armed, which you should not assume at all, given that room. Even if you're the only 2 people there that have a gun on you, that's a lot of fucking people, and they all look crazy. Like, why would you announce yourself?
Yeah.
Worse than that, though, did you notice in the alley afterward, Jim and Harvey are like walking down the alley. This is right before Zsasz starts shooting at him. They're walking down the alley talking, and some of the Joker followers are literally running the same direction that they're walking.
Mm-hmm.
They're like running past them to get away from them.
Mm-hmm.
What the ever-living hell?
I thought they were running away from Zsasz and the gunman.
Zsasz had not appeared yet.
No, but they could have been behind them and seen them walking down the strip with machine guns.
All right, so maybe they were originally going to run away from the police officers that they were scared of, and then they saw 2 crazy ladies and a very clearly well-armed guy and went, oh shit, fuck that, and started running toward the police officers in the other direction.
These are crazy times, man. Maybe so. I'm not trying to defend the show here. I just thought it was very chaotic. I don't actually even remember Harvey and Jim walking so much as sort of jaunting.
It was just a weird moment for me. If I missed something, let me know, guys. Sorry.
Me too. But
it's an ongoing rule, really.
I don't understand why they even announced themselves, because the whole point was to follow Dwight to where the bodies were.
Yeah.
And then they followed him there, and instead of just kind of laying low and waiting to see where he went next.
Which by laying low, you mean standing on a high perch in the background.
Right.
Clearly an eye shot.
That bothered me too. I'll just go ahead and mark that one off then. um, But so instead of like just kind of being chill, not saying anything, even though like it's creepy, they're like, nope, it's not illegal, but it's weird. We don't like it, so we're going to announce ourselves and screw up everything we were doing. We don't really need to know where he was going after this.
You know what it reminded me of
dumb.
was like the time they showed up at some underground sex club and Bullock finally announced himself and pulled the gun out when he heard the pig.
Yeah, it was like a Winnie or a pig
it was
or
like,
something.
It was like
went,
a pig.
Nope,
a pig
that's
went,
too
nope,
bad. That's too much.
And that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Oh, man. So, that's it. That's all I've got.
That's all I got to. Surprised I had that much, to be honest.
It was a weird episode of Gotham.
It was a weird episode of Gotham, yeah.
I look forward to,
I'm looking forward to Jerome.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm always forgetful of how good he is. Because, like, when they started playing the clip of him, for just a second, I was like, Hamill? Oh, yeah. It's that kid. Yeah.
He really is up there. I
forgot he was that good.
Just one of the best Jokers. I mean, even proto-Joker here. He's one of the best representations we've ever seen.
Yeah. We should just, I don't know.
I would nominate the scene from last year with his little one-man Russian roulette scene. I would put up against pretty much. I think Hamill would even say like, no, this kid's got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we should find clips of Jerome on YouTube and send it to Jared Leto, who's making hints that he's coming back. By the way.
Oh, good.
We'll talk about that on the news episode. Which will drop on Tuesday, I reckon. Anyway, we're going to get out of here, and we're going to come right back with a Lucifer 212 Stewardess Interruptus recap and review. So, until next time, keep some DC on your screen at DCOnScreen.com.